Hello everybody, it's May 2nd, 2022. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin here. Let's first take a look at what I said on Friday. Summary basically was that as long as we remain below 48.2, the bears remain in control. I said a sustained break of 38.2 should, in italics here, because should, is kind of relative with Bitcoin's action recently. But that should have been the trigger for the next large drop. But until that happened, I was just expecting more chop, basically. Regardless, sub 33K is the most likely scenario for the midterm. So any pump is an opportunity to add to shorts. So basically, we remain in that same scenario right now. Not too much has changed. We did break below 38.2. Arguably, it could have been considered a sustained break. We did spend, quite a few hours down below there, but obviously we're back above it now. So, we really haven't seen the trigger that we should have seen by now. And that does certainly give me pause and makes me expect more chop. I don't see anything to be bullish about here. In the medium term, I still expect this lower area down here, down in the 30Ks, lower 30Ks, even below 30K potentially, but the short-term action is the question mark right now, and it remains a question mark. So let me just do a quick summary here. We should be within the final leg down of this correction that started all the way back in November. This should be the final leg, this orange 5, right? Orange 4 topped out there. We're looking for orange 5 to finally finish off the C wave of the major fourth wave before we can go up to the 100 to 133K targets that we want to see. So within that wave 5 in orange, we should see what I have marked here in yellow with parentheses, 5 waves down within that. Now, normally what you would see in the middle of a third wave, which this really should be, is a large drop. It should be the strongest of all 5 waves. And obviously we've not seen that yet. And that is what makes me a little bit suspicious that maybe 2 isn't done yet. It's certainly possible. I've said over and over and over again now that it is very, very possible we revisit this area here. It looked like this was an ABC expanded flat correction there, but it's very possible that all of this is an ABC and we make an even larger expanded flat correction up here, and then that resets this second wave over here, and then from there we get the large drop. My preference, of course, is to see the drop happen sooner rather than later, simply because it makes it a lot easier to trade and gets us to that 100 to 133K target a lot quicker, right? The longer we chop around here, the less time the more time we have until we can actually start pumping, because I do think we need this final flush out before we can do anything. So if this just chops around for another month before dying, it's going to be super annoying. I'd prefer to just make a straight shot there before going up. So, but the action that we're seeing right now is not fully supportive of that. There is a possibility that we may see that drop, but like I said, not having that 38.2K trigger the immediate downside setup is something to be wary of, and certainly could mean that we get up here to the 42 to 44.5K area once again for a retest of that resistance zone. So the way that this turns into an immediate downside setup is that within this third wave, this one right here, within that third wave we should have 5 waves down, and we have 1 and 2 set up there with another expanded flat correction like this. And then within this third wave, we should have 5 waves down. And so basically this would have to be our 1 and 2, and then see an immediate downside here to about 35K or so. So that's how we see an immediate downside setup. If we break back above either one of these highs, 40K, 40.4K, it could very well mean that we're going back up here before we see that downside. If we remain below these highs, then the pressure remains down, right? And we have seen a series of lower highs and lower lows for that matter. Lower low, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, right? Lower high. So, when you see that over and over and over again, lower highs and lower lows, it is bearish. The expectation is continuation downwards. But like I said, the action right now has really not been super constructive, and does potentially mean we're going to move back up here. So be very, very cautious in any positions that you're in. This is set up to continue being quite choppy for a while. I will view this area as an ideal place to add shorts if we do get up there. I am already short. I shorted in this area previously. So I'm just holding on to those. And realistically, if I go into like slight paper loss on those, I don't really care. I'm just going to add. My plan was always to add higher up there. So while my preference is more immediate downside, to just kind of clear everything out sooner rather than later, I am prepared to add shorts up in this area. And any move up from here, I do not view as bullish. I have almost no bullish setup at all on this with how low it's come. The only way that this turns into anything bullish is if we do a diagonal, which basically means we need to get up here into this box here, 52.5 to 58.5 for a third wave, which I have in red here, 1, 2, 3. But to be perfectly honest with you, this A, B is already far too low to really give us a nice big C wave up, if that was even going to be the case. So the bulls do not have a good setup at all. The alternative, like I said, is that diagonal, and I really don't even like it. It's certainly not high probability. So I'm focusing on the bearish setup right now because it's absolutely the highest probability setup that we have. And we have been expecting this low down here in the 28K area, 28 to 30K area for ever, basically. I mean, not forever, but I've been expecting it since we started this drop down, right? This orange box is where I sold all of my crypto, all of my alts, all of my Bitcoin, everything. I sold it all right there. And I've been sitting in cash ever since, and haven't regretted it the entire way. I plan to get back in when we saw that move down below 30K. This obviously failed to push further. I was looking for just a little bounce and then a push further. That would have been great. We could have ended the correction all the way back here if we'd done that. Instead, it decided to be difficult and turn into a choppy mess. So unfortunate, but again, I'm sitting in cash. I'm waiting for the opportunities, and I haven't been losing a buttload of money in the meantime, especially on alts, which have just been dying continuously. So certainly was a good decision on my part, and I'm not interested in buying back in until we start seeing these lower lows here. And at the moment, if this scenario plays out and we don't see this area here, if we just continue to see dropping down right now, we should see, based on the current projection, we should see about 28.4 as the end result of this. Now, any of that can extend. If this drops hard and comes down further than expected, we can certainly end that a little further down as well. But basically, anywhere underneath 33K, I'm a buyer. Anywhere under 30K, I'm a strong buyer. and anywhere under like 24K, I probably stop out, to be perfectly honest. So I'm looking for this area all within here, basically 25 to 30 as a buying opportunity. Below 24, and I'm not so sure about that anymore. All right, anything else to add to Bitcoin? I don't think so. That pretty much sums it up. This action off the low, the most recent action that we've seen, is pretty clearly corrective. This does not indicate that we should anticipate higher. This is pretty clearly an ABC here. So we can label it as such, ABC. Very well could be that second wave. Very well could be that second wave. Or it could morph into a WXY, which is a series of ABCs, since this move is also fairly clearly an ABC so far. We certainly could see this turn into a XY. This W is up here. Right, so WXYs are made of 3 ABCs put together. So we may in fact see that occur, and if we did, we would expect this area right here to be resistance. If that was going to be the case, anywhere between 39.1 and 40.3 would be the resistance for that. That can still be this too, technically, although it would be getting pretty darn close to that. So I wouldn't want to see it go all the way up and still be that too, but it could also be resetting this too. There's lots and lots of possibilities. This is not very high probability action in any direction. So once again, be very careful no matter what. But at the moment, if we do move up, this is first resistance zone. If we break that zone, this is the next resistance zone here. And if you're not short yet, you could try shorting here, but be a little bit wary. Probably use this as your stop and then plan to add up higher in this zone instead. I'm personally not adding if we get up here. I'm just waiting for this because I'm already short. So that's the plan on Bitcoin. We'll see what the rest of the week brings, and we'll do another update on Friday for you guys. All right, good night everybody. Make sure you check out the suggested video here and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on the video for me too, please. It does help me out when you do both of those things. All right, thanks so much. Talk to you Friday.